My name's Stephen Whistler. I grew up here in this church, and I was a summer intern and helped with the summer feeding program and Vacation Bible School. When you think about a 20-year-old kid, college kid, being asked to work at their childhood church and over the summer with kids, most people, I think, wouldn't be the most excited about that, right? When Jesse called me and asked me about it, my first thought was, am I worthy enough to do this? And I think the reason that thought remained with me and was there from the beginning was because a life, when you think about it, is so malleable at such a young age. When you have children that need constant love and nurturing, to be able to grow up in a positive and healthy way. Some of the children, not having a dad or, not having a mom or not having either, not knowing where their next meal is going to come from, not knowing, if they're going to get sleep that night because, their mom and her boyfriend are arguing or like stuff like that. Like, kids shouldn't have to worry about that. And the fact that they do is something that, as leaders, isn't in our control, which is hard. The hardest thing for me to realize was through some of my struggles as a child and even today, kids, when they're growing up, they can't really think about what's going on outside of their own home. And they think that that's what, reality is, that's what it's supposed to be. But deep down, for me, it never felt right with specific things that were happening. So when you have kids that are going through that and are so used to that, and then you give them a contrast of someone like Jesse or Mr. Rick or Eileen or any other person, in the congregation that is loving and, puts their neck out for the child or, feeds the kid or is something that gives them a contrast from that other instance. That's when they realize God's love. It's kind of like a candle shining in the darkness. And they, for the first time, I know for me this happened, but for the first time they're like, this feels right. Like I'm actually being fed. Like I don't have to worry about where my next meal is coming from. Being able to give a child that is something that's completely priceless. When you have the ability to be with kids and be able to play with them and hug them and feel with them and empathize and know some of their struggles that they're going through and, just look in their eyes and tell them that you care about them. Ultimately, that's what God's love is. And if we're not doing that, we're not allowing the seeds of what we did to germinate into something that turns, into God's church in the world.